All right, party people, it's week 186. It's your favorite real estate raccoon here, and today we're going to talk about the rate hikes, but in a different way. I'm going to admit that I was wrong in some scenarios, but listen, mostly I'm right, so don't get too excited. We're going to talk about the home equity line of credit, the HELOC crisis that is existing right now, especially with investors, and we're going to talk about the ridiculousness of the Landlord and Tenant Board, Bureau, whatever you want to call it. There's blood on their hands, and they need to fix some things over there. So let's get into it. But actually, before we get into it, I'm also going to talk about some solutions that I have built using some AI tools that will be available to you and other realtors out there to help you, number one, manage your brain. It's mindset stuff. You're going to have like a Tony Robbins and a Brene Brown in your pocket with the tool that I've built. But also, and most importantly, I have built a resource that allows you to ask the Landlord and Tenant Board anything. You write in your problem you're having with your tenant, or if you're a tenant, you write in the problem you're having with your landlord, and it will spit out a step-by-step kind of master list of what you need to do to solve that problem. And hopefully it allows you to get through to the Landlord and Tenant Board a lot more quickly and a lot more efficiently. But let's get into week 186. So what's going on in Toronto real estate right now? Well, it's good to see that there are some sales actually happening right now. Condo sales have improved. House sales, not so much. Condo listings, again, added another 100 units week over week in our urban communities, especially houses, almost at 700 houses for sale right now, which is something I haven't seen in a very long time. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't look back through all of my market reports to see when it was at this number last. But from what I remember, it was like around the beginning of COVID. So right now we're going back to a place where, in terms of price, in terms of activity, in terms of sentiment, very similar to what was happening at the onset of COVID. The big difference, interest rates and economic uncertainty. What was similar then? Economic uncertainty was also part of the program then. And these text messages keep coming through on my phone, but these are like buyers and sellers wanting to do things. It happens. I can't stop that. So what is going on out there, and what are you seeing as a buyer right now? Well, as a buyer, you are probably seeing a lot of options. We had a client last weekend that wanted to see 18 condos, and they don't have a huge budget, but we haven't had 18 different options. These are 18 viable options that this person had to choose from. So that's kind of what we're dealing with out there. But you physically can't see 18 condos in one weekend and be like, okay, I like number 6. You shouldn't be seeing more than 4 or 5, maybe 6 units, homes, condos at any given time when you go out. You've got to be very focused and very, very, very regimented with these showings. And if it takes a couple of weeks, it takes a couple of weeks. There's enough time out there for you to see something, wait, and make a decision, which is great, actually. So what's going on with houses? Houses have been the darling of Toronto. No matter what's happening, houses are still flying. Houses are still selling. Always, it seems. Well, I think that that's going to slow down a little bit right now. Just on the weekend, I helped my clients purchase a home, a phenomenal home, probably one of the nicer homes that I have ever sold. This thing would have been well north of $3 million in the peak, sort of February 22 kind of vibes. We got that for closer to $2 million right now. That's not a real sort of, oh my God, property loses $1 million. That's kind of not where we're at right now. I'm just assuming it would have gone closer to 3 in the heat of the market. But speaking of those scenarios where we have these big deltas, price changes from what they were at the peak to now, what's the benefit of consuming that kind of content out there? There's a whole lot of anxiety-inducing content creators out there, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they're everywhere, that love to take these scenarios of people in actual pain and then somehow say, see, look, I told you so. But what did you tell us so? That markets fluctuate? No, you're a real estate bear and you don't think that real estate's a good investment, and now it's your aha moment. It's your I told you so moment. Well, let's talk again in 2, 3, 4, 5 years and see where that I told you so is. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is right now there are still people buying and selling, and that will always be the case. It's a lifestyle decision first. But the most important thing here is I made this mistake, and I've said this a number of times before, and a lot of other people, I think, continue to make the same mistake, where when we first started to get a hint back in March of 2022, rates starting to come up, we had an immediate chaos response to that. It's like, oh my God, the market's going to tank, it's going to tank, people are going to lose their homes, they're going to lose their homes. Well, we should have listened to the experts, and we always should be listening to the experts. And these are people that study economics, and they know the markets, and they know it takes time for interest rate hikes to actually get people in the pocketbook. So when rates are coming up, it's really more of a sentiment that's affected out there. It's not really affecting people in the pocketbook. Now, unfortunately, almost everybody has hit a trigger rate. And we've talked about trigger rates before. It's the rate at which your mortgage payment no longer covers even just the interest portion. So you have to do a reset with the bank. And in some cases, like in my case, my mortgage payment went up 67%. Like, it's a phenomenal number. It's a very scary number for me to absorb every single month. Funny enough, we're going to sell our house next week because, we have another asset that we can move into, and it just makes sense for me. However, but right now, there are a million people like me that are feeling it in the pocketbook throughout Canada. In Toronto, now is really the test. Now is really going to be, okay, so are we in actual trouble, or is Toronto going to weather this storm like it has many other storms before? The big difference here, though, is in the past, people were worried about their jobs. They were worried about other things, not so much their mortgage payment or whether they can afford to maintain that mortgage payment, not because they've lost a job, but whether their income can even cover their new payment. So it's a very, very different beast right now that is not comparable to any other time in the past. So how many people, how many owners of condos and houses will be forced to market beyond the people that are there right now? If it continues this way, this winter is going to be dark. There are going to be so many properties on the market this winter, if it continues this way, that I don't even know where we're going to roll back values to. And my comments about the market, the bottom of the market being behind us, where we still haven't touched this bottom of last December, could be completely blown out of the water. The new bottom could be ahead of us. That is a very real picture of where the market could be heading, especially if there's another rate hike in October. Honestly, I don't see how there could possibly be a rate hike in October without causing absolute chaos out there in the market. And listen, I am not saying these things to get you all riled up. If you're not a seller, you're not a seller. So calm down, stop watching this and go away. But if you're somebody that needs to sell, if you're somebody that needs to sell because you want to buy something, you need to make that purchase on the worst case scenario. For example, this house that my clients bought on the weekend. Their house was valued back in May, let's say $2.3, $2.4 million. We're going to sell that house in a couple of weeks as we get it ready. So that house today, we made this purchase based on a worst case scenario of $1.8 million for that sale. I think we're going to do better than that, but you need to make your purchases based on an absolute, even unreasonable worst case scenario sale price. And if you're just making a move and you don't absolutely need to, don't. Now is not the time to be on the selling side. On the buying side, however, there are some opportunities out there that aren't just in resale land. There are some in assignment land. We've been talking about assignments a lot. Sorry, the lights went off in here. Can I turn them on again? There we go. There are opportunities now in some resale condos, some houses. I know some people that have recently done some renovations that need to sell, and they're gonna sell for whatever price they get. I'm going to put my house on the market, and I'm not going to give it away. However, we're going to be a little bit more flexible than the last time I was on the market because I've got another use for those funds. Anyway, so it's interesting out there, and it's not fun. I'm not going to lie. The conversations that we're having with people are very different than the conversations we were having a year ago. It's no longer, hey, Sally, Joe, you bought that house? That's amazing. Guess what? One just like it sold for $200K more. Congratulations, you just made $200K. Well, we're having the exact opposite conversation right now. Actually, that conversation is kind of irrelevant, and we shouldn't have even had them in the first place when it was going up, because it feeds into that day trader mentality when you're buying and selling homes. And it just doesn't work. It's not fair. It feeds the ego. It's unnecessary. Because would you say that if it was coming down? No. Who's calling their clients right now and congratulating them because their homes are worth a little bit less than they were 6 months ago? Nope. That's not a smart move. It creates anxiety. It's unnecessary. Anyway, long story short, we've created some resources on the team that I want to give to you. You just reply to the email that you get if you're on my email list. If you're not subscribed, subscribe below, send an email, and I will get you my AI resources for the landlord tenant board AI engine that we've built, and also the mindset engine that I've built to help you get your head right during this time when we're inundated with all kinds of BS from this news source, that creator, this creator. Like, let's just do our best to cut out the noise, and I'm focusing on my brain 100%. Well, almost 100%, because I got to focus on the team too and other people's brains. But anyway, I'm going to keep this one short because I got a lot of work to do today. But please read the entire article. It's linked in the description below. The springteam.ca/blog is where we're at. That's where you'll find all of us raccoony real estate raccoons. The market is moving very quickly, so it is even more important right now to not be following people that are waiting for the Toronto Real Estate Board to release monthly data, which is completely irrelevant by the time it comes out. You need to be spotting trends as they happen, which is what we've been doing for 186 weeks in a row now. 86 weeks is mind-blowing that I've been this consistent with this. Anyway, the springteam.ca/blog has 186 different market reports, so you can go back in there, look through it, call me out on some stuff, congratulate me on some other things. Whatever it is, it's all there. Thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram, Ara Memo. Follow the team on Instagram, the Spring Team on Instagram. We're all there. And we'll see you next week, week 187. Good Lord, I hope listings stop piling on. I really do.